Good evening, chat. Hello. Hope you guys are doing well. And hope you guys are having a great night. It is Thursday night. So once again, it's time for the Thursday night show. And it's episode 201. I know last week we had the big milestone, but we are now on to the 200s. So let's get it going. I know real quick, I know a lot of you guys, if you guys live in the eastern United States, be ready. It's going to get really nasty, especially if you're in the south. Apparently, you guys might all die from the snowstorms that are coming. So please be careful. Please be careful. You don't want any problems to happen there. Make sure you get your milk. Make sure you get your bread. Do everything you have to do because apparently it's going to get really rough. Really, really rough out there. Yeah, we have a lot to go over tonight, just so you guys are aware. There's a lot here. So and I'm not gonna lie, one of the first things, it's super fucking serious. I'm gonna do it. You guys are not gonna like it. Actually, I think you guys will like it. It's just not gonna be good. You're not going to it's not gonna be pleasant, but it has to be addressed. It has to be addressed. And I'm like Tony Soprano talking to Jackie Jr. You're going to sit there, and I'm going to say some things, and you're not going to like them. But you're going to have to sit there, okay? That's the game plan here. Just get ready for it. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. Stop stalling like hot Iowa wrestling. Remember, back in the day, if you started talking shit about Iowa, that's a fighting word, man. Jonathan says, super fucking serious. Well, yes, it's seriously serious. Oh. That's a retirement announcement. No, not that. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. But giving some people some time to get in here and show up. Why is this not working, chat? I hate it when the live chat does not work the right way. Okay. All right, hold on, chat. I had to fix this. All right, there we go. I had to fix the goal. For some reason, the goal didn't work. All right, let's get started. Jamie says, homie, we talked about this. Yeah. I know. You told me you were going to get tested. EDW Raptor says for $2, Cyrax needs a lawyer. Can you volunteer? No. I can't. I can't do that. I can't defend Cyrax. I've already talked too much crap about him. I don't think it'd be ethical for me to represent him at this point. So, thank you again, though, for thinking the idea. Yes, we're going to talk about Cyrax. Cyrax is now in the mainstream, which scary thought there. And just recuperate, going over from the old stream because this was up. Dark Horse is a new member. Thank you for helping pray the gray away, chat. That's right. We are going to make America green again. You see this? You see this, Grace? It means not welcome. Repping the set tonight. Repping the set. Stephen Cooper's been a member for 25 months. And he says, nerds. Thank you for being here so long. I appreciate the support. And 25 months. Time flies. And then Stephen Cooper for 10 subs. Let's fucking go tonight, guys. Get to start off with a nice one. That's never a bad way to start the night. Then Erica Thorpe for $4.99 says, for the goal. Yes, for the goal. We're still going to Afuera them all anyway. ICE will still do its job. But let's get to it. All right. If this is all true, and I'm going to premise this by saying, I have no reason to believe this is some sort of massive psyop or some goober operation. I assume these are real. I assume this is all true, and I assume it's all real. And we're going to start from there. And this is regarding the memo that got leaked last night about ICE. And the way this started out, guys, is the memo to Congress. This is through Whistleblower Aid. It's a organization that helps whistleblowers report to the government. Obviously, they have a way they do stuff and how they do stuff, but that is part of their bent. They did an anonymous whistleblower disclosure, and this is from January 7th. And it was to some, we don't know which, probably the oversight committees of some sort. I don't know which one, probably the House Oversight Committee. But anyways, it was an anonymous disclosure via email, and it's been redacted for Congress. And they point out a secretive DHS memo authorizes ICE to illegally enter homes without a judicial warrant in violation of the Fourth Amendment. Now, it's pretty serious. It's pretty serious. But we're going to take a look at this here, okay? And they're saying they represent two United States government officials disclosing a secretive and unconstitutional policy directive. Yep. And it's about entering homes without a warrant. And they say, given that we are keeping the whistleblowers' identities anonymous, even from oversight investigators, which that's certainly something. The people involved in this are playing the game of whether or not it's true. I don't know. We can't even tell you who the whistleblowers are to the investigators. That's a pretty serious situation. And they point out that if there's anything here, we'll fill you in the best we can. They said, although the undersigned prepared a disclosure, our clients have reviewed its content and they consider it their own. Where they say, well, there's a factual statement and it doesn't include citations, the sources from one of our clients. And here's where this starts. There was a memorandum from ICE on May 12th, 2025, from acting ICE Director Todd Lyons, and it authorized ICE to forcibly enter homes without a judicial warrant. And we're not going to get to the problem here about what this is. We're going to get to disclosures here. This is where it gets a little sussy. And we're going to explain why what you're looking at seems sussy, but I'll get to that in a minute. It says, while addressed to all personnel, the memo has not been formally distributed. Instead, the memo has been provided to select DHS officials who are then directed to verbally brief the new policy for action. Those supervisors then show the memo to some employees, like our clients, and then direct them to read the memo and return it to the supervisor. So you're being handed documents, review, give it back. Okay. That's not uncommon. That's not uncommon. Now, we're skipping ahead because we're going to get to all this stuff here in a minute. But that's how this starts. That's how this starts. All right. Now, what is the issue here? We're going to get to the memo because all this stuff, we're going to do all this and we're going to get to all here. There's a bunch of the memorandums here. I'm not worried about all of this. Okay, so here is the actual memo. And here it is, Exhibit 1. This is where I get a little sussy because this looks like it was taken on a computer screen. I don't know what this was taken on, but this is very weird. Harris Riley saying, you think the memo will be published? Not necessarily. But this is a memo, and how it's being presented, it seems a little sus in how this is being done here. Yeah, it's a picture of a screen, which seems like a really goofy way to send documents around, or somebody pulled up their laptop and said, here, read this. I still think that's a very, very, very weird way of doing it. Yeah, something just, that part alone makes me a little sus. That doesn't mean it's wrong. You just, you got to take a second and look at it and say, what does this mean here? What does this mean? Now, here's where it starts going wrong. Here's what we have. May 12th, 2025, all ICE personnel, Todd Lyons. And it says, utilizing Form I-205 warrant of removal. Okay. So it talks about a January 20th, Trump executed executive order 14159, protecting the American people against invasion. Yes, very based order. Very based order. Directing the Secretary of Homeland Security to ensure successful enforcement of final orders of removal. Yep. Essential to the removal of aliens subject to final orders of removal is the ability to locate and arrest them. To this end, certain supervisory immigration officers within both enforcement removal, ERO, and those are the two parts of ICE that you have there. There are ICE officers who do enforcement and removal, and then there are other ones who are part of Homeland Security Investigations, HSI. Those are like the two tracks if you are an armed ICE agent that you can go on. And they say they are authorized to issue an administrative warrant, and that's true. And they say for the arrest of an illegal alien with a final order of removal. Okay, and that's because you've already gone through your deportations, you've already gone through everything, and the immigration courts. Remember, the immigration judges are employees of the executive branch. They're part of the DHS, they're part of the DOJ. They are not Article 3 judges. They are not judges who get appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate. They are literally government employees. They're basically glorified hearing officers. I know they probably would scoff at that notion, but any administrative law judge is a hearing officer at the end of the day. So they point out all U.S. immigration and customs enforcement special agents and deportation officers are authorized to execute the form, I-205. And they say, although the Department of Homeland Security has not historically relied on administrative warrants alone to arrest aliens subject to final orders of removal in their place of residence. Notice, this is the catch. Their place of residence. Remember, their place of residence, meaning they're in their house. The DHS Office of the General Counsel has recently determined, notice, they have determined on their own, the U.S. Constitution, the Immigration and Nationality Act, the INA, and the immigration regulations do not prohibit relying on administrative warrants for this purpose, meaning they're saying we can use administrative warrants for this purpose. What purpose is that? Getting into someone's house. This is where we start to have a problem here, chat. They say, accordingly, in light of this legal determination, immigration officers may arrest and detain aliens subject to a final order of deportation and removal issued by an immigration judge, which once again is a hearing officer, the Board of Immigration Appeals, which is an organization within, it's another Article 2 organization. It's not an Article 3 group. They are not its own thing. It's not its own court. They are not, they are not an Article 3 court. They are not a thing there. They are not a thing there. So it's something to think about. So you're saying, once again, these Article 2 judges. As we keep going here, that doesn't matter. Now they point out, or a U.S. District Court magistrate or judge could also do it. Those are big ones in their place of residence. Yes, a district court judge or magistrate could issue a warrant for police to enter a home. That is typically how it's done. A magistrate or a judge, a detached and neutral magistrate, has to review a warrant. Okay? And they say immigration officers should consider all enforcement mechanisms, including the use of the form, to arrest an alien in their place of residence to achieve the requirements of the executive order. Now, before we get too far, guys, we have to remember, warrants, Fourth Amendment. You can be, people have the right to be secure in their persons and places, absent unreasonable search and seizure without a warrant. An absent probable cause to support that warrant. It's very simple. It's very simple. People have the right to be free of this stuff. The unreasonable searches and seizures. And yes, there are exceptions, but we're not dealing with the warrant exceptions right now. So what do you have to do? What do you have to do right now to get a warrant? Well, you would go to a judge, and I would say, hey, judge, I want to do, and I've helped police get warrants. We sit there, we put it all together, and we say, hey, judge, we want to hit this house. And here's the warrant, and it says we're going to go to a specific place. Where are we going? I need to tell you a specific place. 123 Elm Street. What are we going to look for? Remember, you have to be particularized in the place you're going and the thing you're looking for, or maybe somebody that we're looking for. We're looking for heroin. Okay. How do you know there's heroin there? Well, this comes to the third part. We now have an affidavit in support of that to show how we establish probable cause. Those are the elements we need to get that warrant. Okay. That's important to know because we're going to stop here for a second. We're going to look at the I-205 form because this is, yeah. Who is heroin? You guys are ridiculous. All right. Now this is a warrant of removal / deportation. Notice this is not from the, United States District Court. This is the United States Department of Homeland Security. And it's from ICE. Okay, and what does it say? It says to any immigration officer of the United States Department of Homeland Security, Jose Alvarez. Jose Rodriguez. There we go. Jose Rodriguez, insert name, who entered the United States at, and where we think they did, in Laredo, Texas, on January 1st, year 2000, is subject to removal or deportation from the United States based upon a final order by, once again, an immigration judge, an Article 2 person, a DOJ employee, a designated official, that's once again an Article 2 person, somebody working for the DOJ or the DHS, the Board of Immigration Appeals, once again, an Article 2 thing, doesn't count. And then finally, the Article 3 thing, the one that's kind of the one you would want to give you, something important here. A United States District Judge or a Magistrate Judge. Okay. And it says, pursuant to the following provisions of the Immigration and Nationality Act, blah, 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 blah. And they'd say, what's here? Okay. So what we know right now is we have, of all the things we have the particularity of what or who we're looking for. Okay, cool. Where? We don't know. It's kind of a big deal on a warrant. It's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. And we're going to get to the problems here. And it says, I, the undersigned officer, by virtue of power of authority vested in the Secretary. Notice, it's the authority vested in the Secretary of Homeland Security. So once again, we're under Article 2. We're under the president's authority. The executive branch, the police themselves. Signature of the immigration officer, title, date, and location. This is the police being able to write their own fucking warrants, guys. Yeah, this is, that's not good. Now, here's how this warrant normally works. If they catch you out in the public, driving down the road, walking down the street, they can catch you. If you're in your house, normally they couldn't go in your house. And traditionally, let's say you have an immigration hold on you, and the ICE agents are chasing you through a parking lot, and you give them the slip, and you sneak into the Dollar General, and the Dollar General happens to have Renee Good working the cash register. She says, "Go in the back, I'll protect you." ICE can't go in the back without permission. That is not a public area. So you can hide. There's ways people can protect you. They can shield you. They can deny access. So there's ways this is important. There's nothing wrong with the I-205 on its own. But here's where it becomes a problem, going back to this memo. So they point out that this is this is all meant to be a reminder of the general limitations and that exceptions may apply when effectuating arrest in an alien's residence. So notice, it's all about an alien's residence. And they point out here, they're kind of going through this basic thing here. ICE personnel must remain cognizant of all existing laws and policies pertaining to arrest when carrying out civil immigration enforcement, because you're still bound by the law. You're still bound by the law. Slykazo, this is a good question, and I will get to it. Give me one moment. I will not forget that. That is a very good question. And it says, prior to entering a residence to conduct an administrative immigration arrest pursuant to this form, they must ensure the form is properly completed. Okay, well, that's a good idea. Is supported by a final removal order from an immigration judge. Okay, I mean, that sounds good a little bit. The BIA, the Board of Immigration Appeals, a U.S. District Court, or a magistrate judge. They say this is essential because that order establishes probable cause. No, it does not. No, it does not. The probable cause has not been reviewed by a neutral and detached magistrate. There's notice, you can have Article 2 employees review these and say it's good to go. So the police could walk down the hall and say, hey, is this good? And their boss says, yeah. That's not helpful. It's not helpful at all. They have to say officers and agents must also have reason to believe the subject alien resides at and is currently located in the address where the form I-205 is to be served. So not only do I live there, they have to know I'm in the house. But we've seen a couple of times now, and this is where people are claiming ICE is doing this without warrants. I'm like, that's got to be bullshit. And it turns out, no, ICE is doing this without warrants. So here's how it goes, guys. Before entering a residence, agents must knock and announce. I mean, that's a good idea. Knock and announce. Tell them who you are. In announcing, they must state their identity and purpose. I like this. Correct. So far, so good. Following the announcement, officers and agents must allow those inside the residence a reasonable chance to act lawfully. Very good as well. You know, you got to take a minute. Now, here's where it gets to be a problem. Should the alien refuse admittance, officers should only use a necessary and reasonable amount of force to enter the residence, following proper notification of the agent's authority and intent to enter. Now, here's where we have a problem. There is Supreme Court case law on this, and it's called Payton versus New York. And I mentioned it last night, chat, we were talking, and I remember most of these cases. Payton versus New York is a case where it's the Supreme Court. It's 1980. This is nothing new. And I'm using Wikipedia because it's right away the first hits, and it's a very succinct thing. So what happened in Payton? So here's what happened. The police were looking to find out they think Theodore Payton murdered somebody in a gas station robbery. They said before we were getting the warrants, they arrived at his apartment with the intention of arresting him. So they didn't have a warrant yet, and they were going to arrest him. They believed someone was inside. There was no answer when they knocked. They used crowbars and opened up the door. And they said, although Payton wasn't home, they seized a shell casing that was in plain view. Eventually, later, he was surrendered to the police and was indicted for murder. And, they used that evidence against him. They used that evidence. The judge deemed it admissible. Okay, well, yeah, it's a bit of a problem. So ultimately, and they say absent an exigent circumstance, you can't show up in a house without a warrant. A threshold of a house may not be crossed without a warrant. Okay, you need a search warrant typically to get into a house. The court did, however, specify an arrest warrant would have sufficed if there's reason to believe the suspect is in a home. So if they have an arrest warrant for me and they know I'm home, they can use that to get in the house. Is it better if they get a search warrant on top of that? Yeah, that's a belt and suspenders thing. But you need a warrant from a judge. And you only get an arrest warrant from a judge. You're only going to get a search warrant from a judge. That's a thing here. And guys, remember, this is 1980. This is nothing new. This is nothing new. This is basic bitch shit. Now, there's other cases that are out there. There's a couple other cases out there. As far as things are going. And one of them's Stiegel versus the United States. It's next year later, and this is the other one that is kind of important here. And it says a police officer cannot conduct a warrantless search of a third party's home in an attempt to apprehend the subject of an arrest warrant, absent consent or an exigent circumstance. So if you're at your friend's house and the police have a warrant for you, they can't just bust in. They need a search warrant. Okay. Now, what does this all mean? What are exigent circumstances? Well, there's a bunch of exigent circumstances. There's a handful of major ones that have been widely recognized and are out there. One of them's hot pursuit. So if the police are chasing you down the street, Jose Rodriguez, stop. And they know it's him and he runs into his house. They could chase. He runs into a house, random house. They could chase. Fair game. It's a hot pursuit. The probability of destruction of evidence. So like the idea of you can hear you're there for a drug raid and you got the battering ram and you hear the toilet flushing. Okay, well, you can enter. You're not going to flush an illegal down the toilet. So that doesn't work here. The possibility of violence. You're getting ready. You're like, can we go in or not? We don't have a warrant. But you hear somebody inside loading guns and getting ready, saying, I'm going to fucking blow away whoever's on the other side of the door. Get ready, guys. Here we go. That can be an issue. You'll want to that's an exigent circumstance. That somebody's fleeing or attempting to flee. Like you hear a window smashed and you hear somebody getting ready to jump out and run away. You can go in. If there's a risk of harm to people involved, so like, somebody's injured or someone's yelling, help, help, or you hear somebody screaming inside like, I'm going to fucking kill you. Okay, then you have the right to make warrantless entry. Those are like the 5 major things. Those are the 5 ways you can handle this. So that's how this works. Now let's get back to this. Let's get back to this warrant here. Okay. Let's get back to this memo because it tells us a lot. Once again, there's some things I don't like. A lot of things I don't like. Okay. So let's get back up to here. It says, to be clear, the form I-205 is not a search warrant. It should only be used to enter the residence and conduct an administrative immigration arrest. Once inside, you may conduct a limited search of the immediate area to ensure officer safety. And guys, this is a Supreme Court case called Schimmel versus California. I don't think they cite it down here. But it's a case called Schimmel versus California. It's the idea you're allowed to search the wingspan of somebody. So like if you're sitting, and Schimmel involved a guy, they found him sitting in a chair and they searched the area right around and they found like a sawed-off shotgun. Or something like that, or or a gun of some sort. I forgot off the top of my head. But in Schimmel, it's the idea you could search, like if the police came in right now and found me right here, they could search with like, where can I grab? Because obviously, if it's near me, that would be something I could use. And let's say they find my Mac 10, that's illegal. They could use that against me. Now, let me point out any evidence of a crime observed where the incriminating nature is immediately apparent may be seized under the plain view doctrine. So if they come, like their argument is under plain view, if I have an arrest warrant, I can't start searching the house. But let's say I go to a judge and I get a warrant to arrest you. And we break down the door, we come in and find you. And right in front of you on the table, there's a brick of cocaine. Plain view. You have contraband weapons. You have child porn. You have anything that looks like a crime. Great. But let's say we have you under arrest, but you're suspected of tax fraud and bookkeeping. I can't just start tearing your house apart to find that shit. I can't remember. It's just, we mentioned this before. Nate says it really well. On a search warrant, you can only look for the things that can fit. Like, for example, if I'm looking for a remote control, I can only look in places where you could hide a remote control. So if you found something that a remote control can't fit in, like a little jar, you can't look in the jar. You can only look where you're allowed to look for places you could find an elephant. Okay? Or if I'm hiding a gun, where can I hide a gun? Obviously, that's going to be limited because after a while, it's so small. But if I'm hiding drugs, where can you hide drugs? Pretty much anywhere. It's all about where you're looking for. Or let's say you're accused of having child pornography on your computer. Well, you can't just start looking at, you can look for anything electronic. But obviously, you're not going to be able to look through everything else because it's not electronic. Now, they also point out, consistent with longstanding practice, ICE agents should not generally enter residence before 6 a.m. or after 10 p.m. And that's because on a warrant, you have the chance to get, the judges you have to ask for it, permission to do a no-knock warrant, or you need to go under the cover of darkness for safety. And the cover of darkness is prior to 6 a.m. and after 10 p.m. Although where I was at, depending on the time of year, the court changed. Like, the cover of darkness would change. Like, the one judge, he would check, like, what's sunset this time of year? Or he'd say you got to do it during daylight hours and clearly like daylight hours. And the judge had made it clear, like, you have to basically, it's hunting light. If you can't hunt, then it's not acceptable. That made sense to me. Now, they said, though, ultimately, agents should take reasonable efforts to ensure safety. Okay. Now, they point out there are exceptions. There are exceptions to the Fourth Amendment warrant requirement. Yes, there are. You could obtain consent. Sure. If I walk up to Jose Rodriguez's house and say, "Can I come in?" and he lets me in, that's consent. If I knock on the door and it's Jose's neighbor, the neighbor has the authority to keep me in or out. Jose can't stop it. It's not his house. So the neighbor, Bob, can let me in. Third parties to do arrest. Consent must be provided voluntarily. You can't coerce it. And consent can always be revoked at any time by the party. And that's the neat thing about consent. Just like if you're answering questions. Nope, I'm done. Welcome into my house, officers. And after 5 minutes, you can say, you know what? Fuck you, get out. You're done. Now, are the cops going to leave? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Yes, it's like a consent to search your car or consent to search your phone. Now, once you start, the cops aren't going to stop. But you can always revoke consent. And I would tell you, always revoke consent if you accidentally give it and you realize, oh my God, what did I do? Say, I revoke consent, I revoke consent, I revoke consent. Do it immediately and make sure it's documented. Then obviously in the absence of a warrant, they talk about the exigent circumstances that are there, and they talk about all of them. Pursuit, destruction of evidence, violence, fleeing suspects, or a risk of harm to third parties. So they can move on. And they say after a lawful entrance, which once again, this is not lawful. You don't have the authority to do this. It's not a search warrant, and it's not an arrest warrant. It's not from an Article 3 judge. An immigration officer is like the sergeant going up to the police lieutenant and having him approve a warrant. You can't do that. And they say if they have reasonable belief supported by facts that a person who poses a danger is in the residence, the agents may conduct a cursory inspection of the spaces within the residence, limited to where a person might be found. And that's pretty much what's limited. Like, I can check a closet, but I can't check the shoebox in the closet. They say this information should serve as general guidance for consideration prior to and when effectuating arrest, using a Form I-205 in combination with the final order of removal issued by an immigration judge, the BIA, or a Article 3 court. Now, here's the point. This guidance is not intended to and may not be construed to modify any right or benefit, substantive, procedural, enforceable law against any party, against the United States agencies, officers, or any person. This is illegal. This is not acceptable. You can't do this. You can't use an administrative warrant to get around the Fourth Amendment. It's not acceptable. It cannot. This can't stand. We can't stand. This cannot be what you use to get into a fucking house. This is not enough. Guys, we've gone through search warrants before. Search warrants are, in depth and they're detailed. It just doesn't work this way. And yes, Rob Dorr. Yes, member for 39 months. Damn. Rob, thank you for being here. Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Guys, Rob is an attorney up in Minnesota, up there fighting the good fight against the, against the commies up in Minnesota. Yes, it's not a Ron Swanson permit to do what you want. Correct. Correctamundo. Exactly. Golden Age says don't harbor aliens and make sure you're not. What happens if they make the mistake and think you are? It's kind of like the whole idea about like Kilmar Abrego Garcia getting deported without the hearing. What happens if you get an ICE agent who says, I think you're illegal? Get on the plane. But I'm not. How do you challenge it? How do you challenge this? Who's there to make sure that this warrant's correct? Because if it's not, and remember, guys, we've already seen the police in regular settings doing no-knock raids where a judge signs off on the warrant and they hit the wrong house. We actually listened to the Supreme Court case, Martin v. United States, where the FBI hit the wrong house on the wrong block. And they were like 2 or 3 blocks away from the right house. Threw in the front door, busted it open, threw in flashbangs, put everybody on the ground with guns in their faces, and they're like, oh shit, wrong house, sorry, and walked away. Whoops-a-doodle. And those people had to go to the Supreme Court to fight for the right just to sue them. It's not that easy, like, well, don't do anything wrong. Okay, what happens if the police fuck this up? What happens when the police fuck it up? Time TCT says, shouldn't you sue the department for violating your rights and become a millionaire? Well, I mean, you need to learn, guys. There's some cases here you need to learn about, and we're going to bring this up here real quick. You are going to need to know a couple different things. One, qualified immunity. And then 2, because you're suing the federal government, it's not a 1983 action anymore. That doesn't exist. In fact, there's a specific action for suing the federal government. It's called a Bivens action. And it comes from a Supreme Court case known as Webster Bivens versus 6 unknown named federal agents from the Bureau of Narcotics, the predecessor to the DEA. It's a 1971 case. When you sue the federal government, you're engaging what's called a Bivens action. And a Bivens action is fucking impossible to win on. The joke among legal scholars and lawyers is if you file a Bivens action and your name isn't Webster Bivens, you're going to lose. And these almost always lose. These have a worse rate than qualified immunity at moving forward. It's almost impossible to sue the federal government and sue federal agents and hold anybody accountable. So just telling you guys, it happens. Yeah, Garrett says, takes off your parachute pants. Yeah, there ain't no hammer time happening. JC says, can I sue my name to Bivens and then sue? That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. And Brian, here's my question to you. He says, hypothetically, you could snap your fingers and all the illegals are gone overnight. There'd be a handful of citizens who would disappear too. Would you take the deal? I mean, who's going to disappear? Are you? I mean, think about it. You're like Thanos snapping. What if you Thanos snap yourself out of existence? And you get sent to fucking CCOT. Or you get sent to like Kazakhstan. For some reason, they screw it up. And you're sent to some hellhole. You're sent to Eswatini or Uganda. And now you got nowhere to go. Do you want to go there? Are you willing to take that hit? And I'm not trying to pick on you, but I'm just saying, are you willing to take that hit? The answer is no, you're not. I know the answer, no. You're not going to be like, oh, I'll take the hit. Fuck it. Bullshit, you would. Bullshit, you would. And it's okay. It's just something to think about. It's just something to think about. And what guy are you going to fuck over? Would it be fucking over me? Are you okay with doing that? Fuck you. Not me. It's not going to be like Destiny, Harry Sassan, fucking Vosh, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. Like, it's not going to be people you hate. It's going to be random people. It could be anybody. I'm just saying, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. Yeah, Will Stancil. Will Stancel's not going to be the one who gets deported here. So, I would not do that. I would not do that. Remember, I would let 10,000 guilty men walk free than send an innocent man to prison. So the answer to that question is no, I would not do it. We could have Fuera the fuck out of people. We just got to do it right. We just got to do it the right way. It's easy enough. It's easy enough. Harris Riley says, methinks the memo would be published. Yeah, but it's not. Sometimes there's internal policy things. That said, though, there is no legal reasoning that the Office of Legal Counsel for the DOJ could articulate that I would ever agree with their findings. There's nothing they could say at this point, at any point at all. Yeah, it's a picture of his queen. I agree, Harble Warble. Thank you for that. Spud gun for £2 sterling. The King Sterling says, for the goal. Also snacks. Well, thank you. Rabbit Stick says, isn't this all within the discussion of what due process are illegals allowed? Yeah, but here's the problem. Illegals don't get any due process. Fine. What if they think you're illegal? What if you get some like Down syndrome dumb fuck ICE agent who thinks you're illegal? Like the cops, like the regular police fuck up all the time. The feds fuck up. What happens if they think you're illegal? You're stuck in an ICE facility. Oh, sorry, you don't get any. I want a right to challenge my, I want a habeas thing. Nope. I want a hearing. Nope. There's some process. It's not about them. I don't give a fuck about the illegals. I give a fuck about you and me. That's who I care about. I don't give a shit if they bust in Jose's door. I don't want them busting in my door. And that's enough. Sure, it's selfish, but that's a good enough reason. Selfish preservation. And you should have those same preservation instincts, too. So, yeah, it's all to make sure you don't get a Fuera yourself. And Brian says, how does this bypass the Fourth Amendment? What about this is less legitimate than any other warrant? You don't go to a judge. Like, literally, you're an ICE agent and you go to your supervisor, or you go to an immigration judge who works for the DOJ or even DHS, depending on how they're organized. Hey, man, here, sign this. Okay, thanks, Bob. Bye. Like, that's it. Like, there's no third party involved. Like, you're not swearing under the pain or penalty of perjury. I mean, that's another thing here. Look at this. Look at this. This shit is not under the pain or penalty of perjury that you're doing this. When you swear out a warrant, you're doing it under the pain and penalty of perjury. Like, it's a big freaking deal, guys. It's a big deal. And Robin Hood says the order of removal is not a warrant to search your private property. Correct. But they're treating it to get in there. And now, Sly, you asked this question. And thank you for being here, by the way. And I apologize for taking a while to get to this. This is actually a very good question. How are bounty hunters able to operate with less restrictions? When you go to a bail bondsman and you sign the paperwork for him to post your bail, one of the things you sign is an agreement and an express waiver that you, and then wherever you're living, so if you happen to live with your parents, they sign off on it, that they give you an express permission to come into that property and retrieve you. So you've given them permission. It's consent. It's a waiver. I've given you a permission slip to come into my house and drag me out of it. Now, there might be some other laws in every state. Some states ban bail enforcement or bail agents. Some states allow it, and then there's rules on that. But you see that. They try to avoid kicking in your mom's front door so they don't drag you out of your house. But that's something they have. And that's, like I said, it's a very good question. You've signed it all the way at that point, and I hope you're still here. If you're not, I'm so sorry, but I did tell you we were going to get to it. But it's a very good question. It's a lot different than what we're dealing. So, Citizens United, negating tech says, do you have a solution, or just like the Bivens not going to elaborate? I mean, I think they should. I think Bivens, like, qualified immunity should be abolished. I think Bivens should be expressly open. But remember, the courts aren't going to let you sue them. The government's not going to let you sue itself. sovereign immunity at the end of the day. Even though they don't say that, the court's not going to let you attack itself. I mean, yet you should be able to do it. Bivens actions should be reduced or lessened as far as the requirements for them. But the court's not going to do that anytime soon. So, I mean, I would like to have something here, but it's not going to work that way. So, it's tough. It's tough. How do you fix it? It's like we'd literally have to overhaul the legal system. And, it's like Clarence Thomas giving us AK-47s. It ain't ever happening. The NFA is never getting repealed by the Supreme Court. Even when Knight Clarence Thomas is on board. And I hate to say it like that, but it is what it is. So, Brent says, Swedish women have the lowest body fat percentage of women. They have an average breast size of double D. Thank you for that one. Thank you for that. Seller says, if you can't suppress the body, what's the remedy? There really isn't a remedy. There's no remedy at this point. There's no remedy for your deportations. They'll say, oh, well. And the Bivens action won't matter anyway. Like, the courts have insulated this anyway. So there's nothing really. ICE could do this, and there's no real way to stop it. Absent, like, an injunction. So, yeah. Yeah. Brian says, this is no different than, for example, a warrant for blood labs for DUIs are secured. No, actually, it's very different. The way that works is there's a judge, and that judge will be on call. And generally in any county or any town, for example, right next door is Cuyahoga County. There are 36 felony common pleas court judges that operate. And then there are judges all over, like in multiple cities, have their own judge. If they need a warrant, they can call that judge up and they say, hey, judge, I'm going to fax you over a warrant. Can you sign it for me? Take a look at it. And that's how you get a DUI done in the middle of the night. That's how you get a DUI done. It's an entirely normal warrant. Telephone faxing or emailing of warrants, there's no problems with that. That actually makes sense. We want to encourage, the use of technology. So it's still vastly different, Brian. Because the police aren't just going to the lieutenant for a warrant. They're going to the judge or they're going to a magistrate in their town. They're not just going, poof, give me the blood. They're going to get the proper things done. Sweet Tooth Fairy says, can they go to church? There's no prohibition on it. There may be a policy consideration, but it's not against the law. Eric saying, doesn't the order for removal act as a warrant within itself? No. It's an order saying we have to remove this guy. Okay. Well, if he's in your custody, obviously this doesn't really matter. But let's say he's not. Let's say he's like Abrego Garcia, where he's out and about right now. You got to fill out this warrant for his arrest. It has to get approved. Seller says, I heard them scream for help. Yeah, that's a very common thing that gets abused. Brimstone saying, just like they don't need a warrant to search a home with somebody on probation. But here's the problem. When you're on probation, you've had due process. You've been in front of a judge. You've either pled out or been convicted by a jury or the judge at a bench trial. And then the terms of your probation are you let them into your house or you go to fucking jail. There's a trade-off. Probation is given to you in lieu of jail or prison. So it's far different still. You're still consenting, and you're consenting from the very beginning. When you're put on probation, you're apprised of what can happen. And that includes your PO showing up to search your car, search you, search your home. Those are known up front. This is not. This is not known up front like that. Brian does say, yes, exigent circumstances are something hella subjective that cops can also make up. Yeah, they do. They 100% do. That's 100% true. Now, this is actually a good question. Everything is fine. Do you see where the immigration judges were paid off in Cleveland by an African named Mama? No, I did not. Yeah. And that's the other point too. Yes, citizen. You sign the agreement knowing if I violate probation, here's what's going to happen to me. Yes. And Rob, yes, you kind of hit that. You kind of nailed that there too for me. Thank you. And Shredder S07, I saw your subs up there. I'll get those in a second. It says, isn't this the same for illegals with a final order of removal, which originates from the courts? You don't find citizens in those proceedings. It's not an Article 3 process, though. It's still an Article 2 process. It's still not good enough for me. You know, if you want to bust into someone's home, you better have a fucking judge on the back of it. Because how do you know they don't fuck it up? They can still fuck it up. And then Pete up asked a good question. If under the terms of illegals that were paroled into the interior, they signed documents that waived the warrant requirement that could justify the expanded use of the I-205. I mean, that's something you could try. I don't know federally if that would work. If I was a DOJ attorney, I would push for this as an option, saying, you hereby waive the right to require me to get a warrant to come into your domicile and get you. I think that would be valid, but they're not doing that. They're not doing that. Is that something that can be done? I think so. I think they could. I don't see why you couldn't. Terabus says, couldn't they work in the waiver of rights as part of the visa process? Possibly. But I don't know if that's been done. I don't know how many rights you can waive. It doesn't matter. Like, it all comes down to what would a court allow, and I am not that knowledgeable to give you an answer on that, chat. That would be something that would require a lot of research, like law review amounts of research. Let's see here. Okay, you say you learned the difference between working attorney and non. When the Zell's on, you'll answer it if you were gay. Oh, ha 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 ha. Funny. Fatty Caddy's been a member for 15 months, says, you bish, what a small price to pay for the improvements. Well, thank you. Oh, it's still not good. I still don't like it. All right, let me see here. Radcon says, knowing what you're going to say, but don't disagree. I find it hard with what happened in the last decade, struggling to care as much as I normally would. I understand that, but it's the idea that this is all going to be fair game against you at some point. And all it takes is some ICE agent to get the numbers wrong and hit your house and be like, well, fuck you. And, you know, you come home, your door's kicked in, and they're like, sorry, love ICE. You know, whoops. I don't like that idea. I don't like the idea. It's Shredder S07. Thank you. Says, for Ted Sobs. That gets us another award. Big frickin' support, guys. Thank you. Tim Tams for $5 Australian dues says, well, thank you, by the way, Tim. Hope you're doing well. So it's like I need to watch my ass the next time I come over to the U.S. I need to have all my papers on me at all times as an alien. I mean, if I'm going anywhere in the fucking third, like, well, really anywhere in the world, I carry my fucking papers with me. I'm going to Britain, I'd carry my papers with me. Like, I'd be, you know, like, keep track of your shit, but yeah, you should be able to identify yourself when you go to foreign countries. My analysis is legal eagle tier. Okay, funny. Har, har, har. Yeah. Let's see. Marlene says, you're never going to Britain again. I've never been to Britain, but also, given the amount of shit I've talked about the British government, hoping that, like, some Islamic terrorists attack the Ofcom facilities and destroy all those things and go after, like, Scotland Yard and all these scumbag cops out there who are abusing people. Yeah, they're probably never going to let me in because I'm sure I broke the law multiple times. Fatty Kitty says, Sean, if they can shit out 5 babies before they're deported, then it's a losing proposition. We're working on fixing that. We're working on fixing that. Just you wait. Guys, Ryan Mullally, I think, has got the secret sauce on that birthright citizenship thing, as does Amy Swearer, a former person at the Heritage Institute. Took care of that. Then the amateur iconoclast for $5 says, is this memo in response to activist judges of cities not signing the warrants? No, it's just, we need to get this going. Like, we need to fill the trains. We got all these illegals. We got to get them the fuck out ASAP. And we're just going to shove them out the door. How fast can we go? How many corners can we cut? So that's the game plan there. That's a game plan. Mega Johnny says, do you have a right to privacy to a phone the government gave you for immigration purposes? If you're talking about like getting Obama phones and stuff like that, yes, I would presume you have that right. Because the idea is you never get it. The government never gets it back. They're giving it to you as like a gift. Like there would be a right to privacy in those. Now, if I'm working on the job at the FBI and they gave me a phone, I don't have a right to privacy in that. But if I'm in a illegal, yeah, you're gonna get it there. So Ariel says, but I'm a U.S. citizen by statute. I still don't know. Well, yes, if you're a Native American, you only gained citizenship through the Peck Act in 1924. So, Eric says, then to me, a final order removal should be held to that standard. Yeah, you'd basically have to create more Article 3 courts, and that's not going to happen. So. So pretending they're not listening to all our phones. Yeah, well, that's true as well. Let me see here. Well, you guys are taking this a lot better than I thought you would. Your name is my name is Citizens United, negating technology for life and people safety. My name is shortened. Extratism points if you get the joke. Well, I'm not a big fan of flaps. So, oh. Coded Friend says, I'm married to a Filipino. I carry my passport and IRC card whenever I'm off my property. I would too if I lived in a foreign nation. I'd carry all my shit. In many countries around the world, you have to have papers on you. That's a big no-no. Here in America, you can walk down the street without ID, but you have to be able to identify yourself. So let's see here. Did I catch up on everything? Yes. Yes. So there we go, guys. Like I said, this is a problem. This is something we have to take a look at. We can't ignore, and we can't just let it happen. Can't just let it happen. Okay, chat. Now, moving on from there, we are going to talk about what happened this past Sunday. If you guys remember this past Sunday, there was a lot going on at the city's church out in Minneapolis. And what happened? Well, a bunch of commies came storming into the church because an ICE official was like a deacon there or something. I don't really, who cares? Who cares really at this point what happened? But what these guys did is they came into the church and they disrupted it, screaming all their commie nonsense and holding a struggle session and disrupted the church ceremony. And they went in and intentionally disrupted it. Along with them went Don Lemon. Yes, Don Lemon from CNN. And as they go here, it's clear what they're doing. And Don Lemon filmed the whole thing. He live streamed it. As a journalist, he went ahead and live streamed it. And from here, this is where things kind of went out of control. And if you guys don't remember what happened there, we're going to
happen here.
This is the church, and this is the insanity going on here. And this is Don Lemon talking over it.
Violate people's due process when you pull people off the street and you start dragging them and hurting them and not abiding by the Constitution. When you start doing all of that, people get upset and angry. And if you remember what the Civil Rights Movement was about, the Civil Rights Movement was about these very kinds of protests. There's nothing in the Constitution that tells you what time you can protest. You can protest at any time. That's the whole point of it, is to disrupt.
That's not true. There are time, place, and manner restrictions as part of the First Amendment. I can't walk into the library at 3:00 in the morning and protest. There are limits. There are limits to when you can protest. There are rules. You can't go on private property and just start fucking around, which a church is. It's a public building, but they're holding mass, which means you're not allowed to come in and do what you want. But we did see it even got to the point where Don Lemon started hassling the pastor at this church.
What do you think of this?
I mean,
This is the pastor of the church. And Don Lemon comes running up on these people and starts hassling them.
it's unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
okay, but listen, we live in there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble.
That First Amendment, they're not the government. They're not the government, Don. You don't have a First Amendment. I can't infringe like that. You're on private property. They're not the government. They're not infringing on you.
In protest.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
First of all, absolutely based. Christ is king. Jesus is the hope of this world. Please find him if you haven't.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here.
Please don't push. Fuck you. You're in his house, motherfucker. He's lucky somebody didn't start beating the shit out of people.
We're here to worship Jesus.
Yes.
That's why we're here. Okay, that's why we're here. Okay. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a
no
Christian?
one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to
Unless you're here to worship. Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to...
Well, you ain't worshiping, buddy. But notice he's told, get the fuck out of my house. So he's trespassing. He's being disorderly. But guess what? In Minneapolis, nobody's going to punish them. The mayor of Minneapolis is not going to get involved. The police didn't get involved or charge anybody. Tim Walz, running your state government, he's not going to do anything about it. So what's left? The federal government. And the federal government acted. Surprisingly, I thought Pam Bondi wasn't going to do anything. But holy cow, chat, it was nothing happens o'clock. And something actually finally happened. What did these guys get charged with? Well, they got charged under the FACE Act. And guys, this is 18 U.S.C. 241. And it is, 248. And this is the freedom of access to clinic entrances. And it's all about allowing you access to abortion clinics. But in the meantime, we were able to say, hey, you know, part one of this covers abortion clinics for reproductive health. Part two, oh, buddy, guess what it covers? You cannot interfere with any person lawfully exercising the First Amendment right of religious freedom at a place of religious worship. Whoa. Oh. Thank you, Orrin Hatch. In 1994, guys. This is a 1994 law. And it's still valid to this day. And what are the penalties, though? Well, it's a misdemeanor. So you can't be in prison for more than 1 year. If you do it a second time, not more than 3 years. So it's a felony then. But these guys, it's their first time, right? Well, what can we do to enhance it? Well, funny, you should ask. You should ask that. There is the Enabling Act of 1870. And it's also known as the Ku Klux Klan Act. And before you guys say this never works, there are civil actions involved in this. At Charlottesville, people sued some of the Charlottesville organizers under this act for violating their rights by having all the shit happen there that happened there, and they got blamed for it. But it's a conspiracy against rights. And it says if two or more persons, which that's a conspiracy, two or more persons conspire to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate, okay. Well, we didn't get injured, we didn't get threatened, we didn't get intimidate. We'll just say oppress because it was prevented, it was oppressed. Any person, okay, well, there are people in that church in any state, the state of Minnesota counts. We don't have to worry about the rest of that. In the free exercise or enjoyment, they were trying to do that. Any right or privilege secured to them by the Constitution, like the free exercise of religion under a First Amendment. Yeah. Now, we're not worried about this one about 2 or more persons going in disguise. This part here was explicitly about the Klan putting on hoods, and they could be dealt with. But here's the punishments for this. You could be fined not more than 10 years, so up to 10 years in prison. If there's death from this, you could face up to life, or you might be sentenced to death. If there's, really serious things happen, but we're not worried about all that. We're not worried about all this part. We're worried about right here, up to 10 years in prison. This is a very common tool. It's used a lot. This is actually a little more of a prominent case that's happened recently. This was in the District of Columbia. And this was a case where these people obstructed an abortion clinic. And guess what happened? They got the FACE Act right here. They also got the conspiracy against rights. And these people went to prison for a couple of years. This is out one of the rogue DC judges, Paula Harlow. She was a 77-year-old woman. 2 years of prison. Because they went into and obstructed an abortion clinic. So those of you who are saying we shouldn't do this, or is it too harsh? As the warrior poet Slim Charles, in response to saying, well, did the game change? You know what Slim Charles said? The game's the same. It just got more fierce. And that's where we're at now, chat. It just got more fierce. So what happened in that video? Well, the people involved, and starting off with some of the people that got involved, a woman named Chantel Allen. She is one of the BLM people in the Minneapolis area. She got arrested today. Moving on, not Don Lemon, but a very mouthy asshole of a human being named William Kelly. And he's famous for kind of being a dickhead to everybody and challenging everyone. And this is William Kelly here.
Wearing the uniform now, you think they're patriots?
This is William Kelly right here. And this is after they busted up the church services. This is him talking.
I don't think so, especially those ICE agents.
That's what I'm talking
no.
about. Yeah.
Well,
No, they're terrorists. They're traitors.
They can't be patriots if they're constantly violating people's First Amendments and their Fourth Amendments.
Yes.
It's against the Constitution to identify people without reasonable articulable suspicion.
Due process.
And they busted up the church. And William Kelly did all kinds of crap. He did all kinds of crap at this church, was harassing everybody. I think this is the other thing he did.
All the people in this church, they're living real comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. So if we disturb their Sunday, oh no, nobody should have comfort right now while our immigrant communities are afraid to leave their houses. All the people.
Okay. And as he really wanted to taunt us, as he really wanted to taunt everybody, that he's a brave revolutionary.
ICE is the complete opposite of Christianity. You cannot be an ICE agent and be a pastor. My name is William Kelly. I'm a combat infantry veteran.
He's not a combat infantry veteran. He's actually a shitbird that got dishonorably discharged from the military as a massive piece of shit. So, he never did.
Patriot. I'm a defender of human dignity. But we went in there and we preached the words of Jesus at them. Jesus said to love thy neighbor. Jesus said to welcome aliens from faraway places. But we're terrorists? They're calling me a professional agitator now? Well, yes, I am. I am an agitator because people need to be agitated. What they're doing to this nation is unconstitutional. It is.
So notice he admits to doing all of it. Well, life comes at you fast, Willie boy. Willie. He got arrested. Another person who got arrested is Nakima Armstrong. And she led this. She led this entire thing.
Tell us why you're doing
And
this.
this is
This is
her.
Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine
She called it Operation Pull Up.
operation. We show up somewhere that is a key location. They don't expect us to come there. And then we disrupt business as usual. So that's what we're about to go do right now.
So there you go. And guess what happened to her? She got arrested too. She got arrested too. She got arrested too. Now, I will say there is something out there. The White House did this. They AI'd her crying, which it's like, why would you just fucking lie? Look at her face. She's like, fuck, I think I messed up. That's not a face of somebody who's okay with their getting arrested. This methed out looking dude, William Kelly, he looks fine. He looks fine with this. He's like, I get to go be a bum in jail. Hopefully, like, have fun dealing with the white supremacists there, buddy. Have fun with that. But they're gonna go after them. There's no point in lying about it. But yes, they've documented themselves doing this. And as Stringer Bell tells us, guys, you know,
Nigga, is you taking notes on a criminal fucking conspiracy? What the fuck is you thinking, man?
yeah, I mean, it is what it is there, guys. Really, really stupid. Yeah. They think they're martyrs. They think they're martyrs for their cause, but, you know, martyrs are expendable. I don't think they're smart enough to realize that. Rob Dorr says, I hate it when my clients videotape their admissions. Oh, yeah. And Time TCT says, don't film yourself committing crimes. Exactly. Exactly. Don't document yourself. It makes it even harder. Now, the Rainbow Zen, you're saying that, yeah, Don Lemon says he just followed them into the church and he didn't know what was going on. If you watch Don Lemon's stream, which I was actually working on a video that I was going to release today when I found out they got arrested and I stopped it, I'm going to have to rework it. Don Lemon knows where they're going. He's like, I can't tell you where we're going. I can't tell you what we're doing till we do it. He knows what they're doing. He expected it. He talked about it. He was fully prepared for it. He did it. He did it. And he knew what was going to happen. Yeah, and there's videos of him meeting with all the people beforehand. Then they met afterwards. Like, he was all about this. He was all about this. Now, Don Lemon has not been charged. Don Lemon has not been charged. What we know for a fact at this point in time is that the judge in Minnesota, magistrate judge, rejected the attempt to charge him. Now, they've only been charged with misdemeanors right now. But there's probably going to be some felony charges with the KKK Act attached. They're going to go forward on those things. But the magistrate who was in charge of this said no. So the magistrate judge down there, now we did learn this magistrate judge, his wife works for Keith Ellison. So it's like, yeah, a little sketch there. But the magistrate judge rejected the attempt to bring charges against Don Lemon. But it's clear he did it. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he's doing. They point out it's extremely rare for a magistrate to do that. But he did it anyway. So I will say I'm still surprised this happened at all. It still happened at all. I am totally surprised. Now, like I said, I didn't think this dumb bitch would get anything done, but here's the problem, guys. Remember, this woman is a tard. Pam Bondi is retarded. Remember, James Comey, Letitia James, you know, they're basically going to walk. So remember the Epstein files, whatever else this woman's done, I don't trust her to get it done right. So I can see her fucking this all up. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be all right. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be all right, guys, because I can't. I can't promise you that. That's not at all like a promise I can give you. Now, it's interesting because as part of this incestuous cabal of stuff that happens, chat, Don Lemon has an attorney. Abby Lowell. This is the same attorney who's represented Hunter Biden and represented other people, has been involved in a lot of things so far. He, you know, these attorneys, it's like when Perkins Coie was always showing up at everything for the Democrats. It's an incestuous thing where these people keep showing up. But right now, he's got a top-notch attorney. Now, should he be out of this? Yes, it's like following guys in to do a bank robbery and interviewing. Like, he clearly was in on it. But his attorney says, we'll fight this. And, it's a stunning and troubling effort to punish a journalist for doing his job. Is it really doing your job? It's a stunning and troubling for somebody doing his job. What was his job? To start harassing people in the building? Some of you guys are asking, yeah, I've been against Pam Bondi from the fucking beginning. If you guys go back, rewind the clock, you guys could find me talking about Pam Bondi. I thought she was an awful pick for Attorney General. I thought she was retarded. I've never liked the woman. I don't think she should be Attorney General. Donnie doesn't listen to me. Believe it or not, he's not listening to the fat guy in Ohio on Thursday nights. He should, but he don't. So, Don Lemon is probably, it sounds like he might walk out of this with no problems. And then from here, though, other things have happened. And this is where we have seen the first woman we showed, Chantel Allen, the head of BLM in the Minneapolis area, also on the St. Paul School Board. Her arrest documents, her arrest warrant. And see, guys, this kind of dovetails into what we talked about already. An arrest warrant. A warrant signed by a magistrate judge. An arrest warrant. Isn't this neat how our stories kind of, they're interlinked. Signed by a United States magistrate judge. Look at that. That's what you need. So it's, you're authorized to bring before a magistrate this woman as part of a complaint. Notice there's no indictments or anything right now. And it says here, conspiracy against rights of the free exercise of religious secured by the FACE Act in violation of 8 U.S.C. 241. And then they also cited the FACE Act under 248A2. And the magistrate said no probable cause for the FACE Act. So the FACE Act is not going to work here. So it's just right now, you just have this. Conspiracy against the rights, and you don't need the FACE Act. This doesn't, the dismissal of this from the charges doesn't eliminate anything because we have the rest of this. The conspiracy against the rights to free exercise of religion in violation of 18 U.S.C. 241. So there you go. There you go. So that is what's happened here. Now, what do you guys talk about Richard Barris for? But notice, she has a charge against her. These were signed. The magistrate actually did. Could it be amended later? Yes, they can indict her. They can do all kinds of things. But for right now, they do have arrest warrants. There were valid arrest warrants. But notice, it's filed under seal. So if you guys go on Pacer, you're not going to find it. And it's pursuant to an order. So until there's an order unsealing this, you can't go into Pacer and type this in and find it. You won't find these people anywhere. You wouldn't find these people anywhere. Citizens United saying only his cameraman would be immune. No, his cameraman's not immune. There is no immunity to be part of the press or be the cameraman or the producer. You have no immunity for that. There is no immunity for that stuff. Being a reporter does not insulate you from crimes. So no, the producer, the cameraman could all get charged. Nobody gives a shit about them though, because nobody knows who they are. Don Lemon is the target, and he should be the target, but everybody would be fair game in that situation. Everybody would be fair game in that situation. So, and it's something to seriously take advantage of and think about. So, and they should be charged anyway. I'd be fine with that. I'd charge them all. Fuck it. Let the courts figure it out. I would totally be fine with that. You have no idea how happy I would be to do that. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens going forward. We'll see what happens going forward. And more Minnesota-based insanity, and I guess we'll kind of stick on this theme for right now. The DOJ is moving on to serving subpoenas on Tim Walz, Jacob Frey, and other Minnesota officials among the immigration crackdowns. And what is this all about, guys? This is about what they're going to do, and it's not about what they've done since then, but it's whether they conspired to impede law enforcement during the immigration operation. So what did they talk about? So the subpoenas are for emails and other communications of what they're going to find here. And yes, the left is losing their mind over this stuff, but this one's totally fine. They want to find out whether or not they conspired to impede law enforcement during the immigration operations. The subpoenas were also sent to the Attorney General, the Office of the St. Paul Mayor, Kaholi Hare, I don't know how you pronounce that, and 2 counties. One of those is going to be Hennepin County, where Minneapolis is. But yes, they claim that they're just intimidating us. Well, no, you guys got in the way. You guys caused problems. He says, in Minneapolis, we won't be afraid. Oh, I guarantee you, you're afraid. You are shitting bricks. And he says, I'll keep fighting to keep our values safe. Yeah, I'm sure you will. And guys, this is Governor Walz and this is Mayor Frey. And they say the subpoenas for documents and records, which is true. And it's funny, though. He says everything is highly irregular. Well, it's highly irregular. The entire state would be geared towards resisting the federal government and one of its foundational things, immigration. I mean, this is like the one biggest thing here, guys, chat. This is Westphalian sovereignty. You know, like the idea is going back to the Treaty of Westphalia, that to be a modern nation state, like you have authority over your borders and you have a defined border system. You know, it's like if you don't have control over your borders, you're not a nation state. But you have exclusive jurisdiction over your territory. This was settled after the 30 Years' War in 1648. It's the foundation of modern international law. It's the foundation of like Western Europe that kept it from tearing itself apart all the time. I mean, because there were some nasty, nasty wars that went on. And it's a foundational thing here. It's a foundational thing. But the idea that the government doesn't have the authority to do this is just nonsense. It's just absolute nonsense at this point. Yes, meanwhile, sadly, modern Westphalia, and guys, the Westphalia was where was the Treaty of Westphalia? Westphalia was in Germany, in the Peace of Westphalia. It was like the Kingdom or the Duchy of Westphalia. I don't remember. Anyways, yes, in 1648, yes, and under the 30 Years' War. The 30 Years' War was a devastating conflict between the French, the Catholic duchies and principalities and monarchies in Germany. Remember, Germany was a ramshackle collection of kingdoms up until 1871 when the Prussians unified them all. They got the Germanic gauntlet, the Teutonic gauntlet together. They got all the Teutonic stones. And the French, being Catholic, backed those guys to stir shit up against the Protestants. The Swedish government became involved. This was like the last stand of Sweden really screwing around in the European stage. The German population of Greater Germany got literally decimated. 10% of Germany's population died over the course of 1618 to 1648. It was a devastating war. A devastating war. Prior to that, you had the 80 Years' War, which ended in 1648. You had like the 100 Years' War that had ravaged, France. Europe realized, God, we need some rules, and we need some fast. So they came up with some rules. But yes, it's a thing there. Yes, it's Northwest Germany. Thank you. But yes, they are full of Turks now, Turks and Syrians. So yes, it's North Rhine-Westphalia now. Okay, that's the launder that it is, the Teutonic Gauntlet. Well, that's what it was. Like you have like Prussia, Saxony, Munich, Munster, like, yeah, and like Schleswig and Holstein, and Thuringia. You get all those, Moravia and all that, and you're like, and Kaiser Wilhelm, along with Otto von Bismarck, just like shing, and Germany's unified. When the Prussians forced Germans to unify at gunpoint, and they, out of the fire of war, came Germany in 1871. And then it immediately went and fought the Franks and whooped France's ass. And that was kind of like all part of it. So, yes, Anhalten, yes, in Kassel, yes. So, yeah, you really know the Germanic stuff. I know a lot about Europe. It's fun. You have to know our tradition, our roots, our heritage. And it's sad to see it the way it is now. But yes, highly irregular. No, it's not. Sorry, getting back to that. Sorry, chat, we're getting back to this. Yes, Silesia, yes. Anyways, he says this comes shortly after they challenged the illegal actions in Minnesota. You have no right to challenge. And he says, Donald Trump is coming after the people of Minnesota, and I'm standing in his way. Yes, you're obstructing the federal government for doing their job. I won't be intimidated. Well, it's because you're retarded. And this is an ongoing thing here. We'll see how this works. But, yeah, suffering in Minnesota tonight, chat. Suffering in Minnesota. You only know these because you play Victoria 3? Oh. I know those because I know those. I know those because I know those. So it's yeah, it's I hate to say it is what it is, guys, but it is what it is. And now I got way too many tabbies open. Also, in case you guys are wondering, I know people are going to ask, no, we're not going to war with Iran right now. We're probably not going to go to war till the weekend, if not this weekend, next weekend. The Abraham Lincoln is in the Arabian Sea. And that was one of the bigger things we were waiting on. And there are a massive influx of tankers and support aircraft. There are more aircraft right now from the U.S. government, U.S. military aircraft. There are more U.S. military aircraft in the Persian Gulf region than there were for Desert Storm or the 2003 invasion. Like, we're fucking doing it. We're doing it, okay? So just... There's like 4 squadrons of F-15s. There's squadron after squadron of Raptors and F-35s. Like, we're going to go to town. It's just a matter of when. So, yeah. Now, one last thing, chat, and this is, I bring this up to you, one last thing about Minnesota. The sector breaks containment every once in a while, and it's rather scary when it happens because you don't want to see it happen. You don't want to see it happen, but it does sometimes. The sector will break containment, and it's rather scary. And this time, it did it in a rather awful way. If you guys have not seen this man before, brace yourselves. I bring you Cyrax. If you're familiar with the farms or know the sector at all, this is the king, literally, the king of Akron, Ohio. And you might say, oh my God, this looks like the dude in RoboCop when the acid's attacking him. Yeah. Cyrax has a bunch of, he did not win the genetic lottery. And he is a complete lunatic on the internet. He is a lolcow of the highest quality. And this is, he lives in Akron. Yes, about an hour away from me. And isn't Cyrax that Mortal Kombat robot? Yes. This is not Asmongold, chat. It's not Asmongold. Is he a pedophile? Yeah, pretty much. But anyways, here is Cyrax.
To any ICE agent that thinks they're gonna come into my home and terrorize me and my family, you will be met with lethal force. I will kill on sight, and I will shoot to kill if need be. ICE agents are not allowed in my home. If you come into my home to terrorize my family, I will see you as a threat, and I will kill you. because you guys are terrorists. Bear in mind, I am very much armed and will do what I need to do to protect my family. I stand against ICE. Any ICE agents that show to my home to terrorize my family will be dealt with immediately.
Now, guys, the reason why this is happening is Cyrax gets trolled by everybody. Everybody terrorizes him. He has a big problem, like the Akron police don't respond to calls to his house anymore. People got him all riled up and gassed up saying they were going to send ICE after him. So he panicked and put this shit out there. But now libs of TikTok, Chaya Reichik, fucking libs of TikTok. Ah! The sector broke containment again, chat. The sector broke containment again. Oh, God. And look at this. 5.7 million views. Oh, no. That might be go up. I need to check how much updated are these views. 6.2 million views, chat. No. No. Oh, my God. Yes, and now they're chronicling him more and more and more.
It's for libs of TikTok, aka Shia, aka failed LA realtor, who felt like selling chopped up.
Okay, when Cyrex starts talking shit about people, it doesn't work here. But yes, the funny thing is PPP and Worski must be stoked. I'm sector adjacent. I mean, Nick Rekieta was like in the sector. And, because guys, the sector's like, the funny thing is like Nick Fuentes, Dick Masterson, Ethan Ralph. Obviously, he is the godfather. He is the creator of the sector. The whole America First movement. Worski and PPP. All of LawTube is sector adjacent technically. And considering my relationship with like Nick and how that's all gone before, I'm kind of firmly attached to the sector somewhat. So like, maybe this is how I get the big break, chat. Maybe this is how we get all the subs. Maybe this is the road to 100K. Maybe this is the road to 100K here, the path to victory. Oh, yes, he's an advanced log cow, more advanced than any other way. Oh, yes. I made you. Yes, I know. Mr. Medicare knows my name too. It's I guess that's one way, it's a long way to the top, chat, if you want to rock and roll. So I guess. All right. Now we got some real stories to cover. Some interesting things here. Moving on. We talked about this last week. There was this weird filing of this case of the United States of America versus Nicholas Moore. And he was pleading out because he had hacked the Supreme Court electronic filing system. And we were like, who is he and what did he do? Why did he get access to the Supreme Court? What was he doing? Well, on Friday last week, he pled out. And here's what we have. And it's a statement of the offense. And this actually explains a lot for us. So it says, pursuant to Federal Criminal Rule 11, they talk about Nicholas Moore through his attorney. They consent to the facts that are here. Well, unauthorized computer access carries a maximum sentence of 1 year of imprisonment, a fine not to exceed $100,000, and a term of supervised release of not more than 1 year. So what are the elements of this here? Okay, well, he intentionally accessed a computer, was without authorization, he obtained information. The information was from a protected computer, which a computer was used or affected interstate commerce. So what did he do? Okay, so he got on the United States Supreme Court servers, and you're like, okay, what did this guy actually do? And this is not, when I saw this, I was really like, I was expecting so much more. And it's just like the dumbest thing ever. You're like, this is boring. So what happens? So the Supreme Court of the United States use an internet-based electronic filing system. They do. They have their own electronic filing system to receive and restore documents filed with the court. In certain circumstances, the filing systems were posted on the court's public docket without review or action. The electronic filing system operated on computer servers in D.C. So what happened here? Well, he was not an authorized user, and he ended up accessing the system without authorization using the stolen credentials of a user named GS on 25 different days. Okay, how did this work? So he obtained the information about GS that was saved on the filing system servers, including the full name, email address, phone number, home address, date of birth, and private answers he had given to 3 security questions. So he got everything he needed to go ahead and do this. You're like, wow, okay. And then in August, throughout 2023, he publicly posted on his Instagram account, which used the handle, I hacked the government. And once again, as Stringer Bell tells you,
Nigga, is you taking notes on a criminal fucking conspiracy? What the fuck is you thinking, man?
Yep. He took screenshots of his homepage, of GS's homepage in the filing system. There, and clearly visible in the screenshots were GS's name and a list of the current and past filing records. And it says under AmeriCorps, which is the Corporation for National and Community Service, which is a kind of like jobs program. So they have their own internet-based platform. This dude went ahead and used stolen credentials of somebody using SM. No, it's not me. Doing all this, and he posted again on his I Hacked the Government servers. And it showed all the stuff, including this guy's veteran status, citizenship status, service history. He then hacked something in the VA servers. He started screwing around on that. He started screwing around on all of this. And once again, he put it on my I Hacked the Government screenshots. And you're just like, oh. You're just like, buddy. Well, yeah, super smart. Everybody around this is super, super smart. But anyways, signed by Janine Pirro, U.S. Attorney. So he said, I fully accept. I've read the foregoing statement, and I've discussed with my attorney. I understand this proffer, and I acknowledge its truthfulness, agree to it, and accept it without reservation. I do this on my own free will. Signed, Nicholas Moore. They've gone through it, and it's been signed. So this wasn't like some guy hacking to find opinions and leak them out anywhere. It's just some douchebag fucking around on the internet and social engineering and scooping up email information off the dark web. This literally is nothing. But yes, he won the self-snitching award. Yes. Bruce Rivers says, don't self-snitch. Don't do a lot of that stuff. This is just so stupid. So dumb. Like I said, guys, I told you. I let you down. This wasn't that very good. This wasn't that good. And I read this and I was like, this is so boring. I thought I was going to be a fun guy. But no, this guy's so boring. This is gay. This is gay. That's all this was. All right, guys, hold on here. I need to check something. All right. Yeah, chat, we're working here. We got hour 38 minutes. We got to roll. And something that probably is not a surprise to anybody, John Solomon over at Just the News. If you guys have not seen him, John Solomon's pretty reliable on things. It turns out, that the FBI was paying the Sedition Hunters. Remember, that was a Twitter account, people who were digging through all the January 6th stuff, and they were like, we're hunting the sedition. So what did the FBI do? They hired these people as confidential sources. They made more than $100,000 payments. And you have to wonder, was that all done? Was that all done above board? Did anybody know about it? To the Sedition Hunters. And the thing was, they had anti-Trump fervor, and they had known ties with foreign organizations and foreign people, foreign entities. And I'm not I don't think it's passive that foreign intelligence services were involved indirectly. So what's the problem here? Well, the FBI may have violated policies regarding informant bias, their secrecy, foreign influence, and contracting law. You know, this is the thing. Like, the FBI turned to the internet for help and these people. You know, the group received at least $150,000 in payments for that work and other work related to the Arctic Frost probe. So not only the Sedition Hunters were involved in that, they were involved in helping determine whether or not Trump supporters were violating the law by promoting alternate electors. So the FBI was just using fucking randos off the internet. Absolute horse shit. But they did it. They did it. You know, and the FBI was aware the group had foreign connections and may actually be using foreign software from overseas to identify citizens for arrest. Think about that. They were cooperating with foreign entities and they knowingly did it. Were those foreign intelligence services? Did those services penetrate the FBI? Why were foreign intelligence services assisting the FBI like that? You know, the FBI even noticed we have a Sedition Hunter from the United Kingdom running facial recognition software, which means there's probably some sort of governmental thing here. Because you can't just buy, like, you could buy it, but it's expensive. Does that mean somebody from MI6, MI5, GCHQ? What organization was being used? Section 20. That's a Strike Back joke. Old Strike Back, not the new. The newer stuff was like meh. But yeah. You know, these informant relationships were inappropriate, and they were committed to working with Congress to fix that. But yeah, they were anti-Trump activists. Like, you can't do that shit. You can't do that. A Sedition Hunter member was also engaged as a confidential source and got $20,000. You know, the source was tasked with looking for video evidence tying Trump supporters to the January 6th speech. And you're just like, who the hell is this? And notice, it was approved by Jack Smith. It just gets deeper and deeper and deeper, doesn't it? It gets deeper and deeper and deeper. So, you know, this is, you know, they propose a payment of $20,000 for the source's provision of information. And that's because they could say it came from a source and they don't have to do anything else with it. But the amount of money was unknown. But the amount of money they got is insane. And, you know, there was a book about, like, oh, they were so brave. There was a massive book praising these people. So it's just how it works. It's like, it's not, I guess, is that really surprise anymore? Like I said, people need to hang and they're not going to hang. That's the sad part. People need to hang and they're not going to hang. It's just, it is what it is, guys. It's frustrating. It's frustrating, and I get it. If the FBI didn't do it, they would have had the CIA pay them. Probably. So, after says, I just saw him, so you Google Kurt Signetti. So, Day of the Rope, yes. I mean, that's we're kind of running out of options there. Now, moving on, chat, there is a massive, and we're going to use ESPN for this. There's a massive point shaming scandal in college basketball. But here's the problem. It involved 39 players on 17 teams on NCAA Division I teams. But here's the issue. It's like there's some weird schools. Like, it's Eastern Michigan in the MAC, Kennesaw State down in Georgia. It's not like Duke or Indiana or Michigan or UCLA, Florida International. Like these guys were not going to be getting into like, come on now. But this all started with people trying to fix Chinese basketball games that were being done here, and things started spiraling out of control. And here's the big issue. This is the indictment here. This is a massive indictment. This is only one of the indictments that they have. But you guys remember we talked about this before, bribery and sporting contest. Like this stuff adds up when you are doing it. If you start screwing around, you start getting in trouble very, 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 very fast. And you start running into like bribery and sporting contest, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, actual wire fraud, aiding and abetting. And remember, if you use electronic means to commit fraud, that's wire fraud. It doesn't take much to commit wire fraud. Not much at all. But what do these guys do? And here's where it gets really stupid. And we talked about how these point shaming things work and guys set it up. But what gets you in trouble every time? These guys get greedy. And what were they doing here? So what was the scheme? The scheme was all these guys, and what do they do? Well, people started putting in retarded bets based on things that would happen. Like these guys did stupid things like over $200,000 in wagers at a sports book in a casino. Do you think that like they weren't going to notice that you were doing this? These casinos don't like getting ripped off. If you win all the time, they think you're cheating. They're going to call the police. And they're going to investigate it. And, notice they have these things and they say like give $20, $20K to the player who agreed to assist in the scheme. Like there's text messages. It's like, why are you doing this? It's just so stupid. These guys would bet retarded amounts of money on these things. And where is it? Yeah. How this all set up here. There was some like these guys were betting $140,000 on East Carolina University to cover a full game spread. Like I get you could throw $100,000 out on like Ohio State and Oklahoma, but you're throwing it down on like bumfuck State University. Why would you do that? Nobody's expecting you to do that. Northwestern State University. Do you know where Northwestern State University is? No, you've never heard of it. You've never heard of it, chat. You've never heard of it. And they were playing Texas A&M Corpus Christi. So what happened? These guys were playing in a game, and these guys made $231,000 on a bullshit game. They got all the parlays right, too. This is just ridiculous. Another game. Another game here, St. Louis University. They were playing a team. They were playing Duquesne. Which Duquesne used to be kind of important. But anyway, almost $250,000 on St. Louis University. Who the fuck is doing that? Who is doing that? And like these guys just all these schools, like SUNY Buffalo, Southern Mississippi, Alabama State, Fordham, New Orleans, Robert Morris, Alabama State, Nichols State, North Carolina A&T, Abilene Christian. Like who the hell's? And there's a tweet here that really kind of spells it all out, but it's like who would do this? Why would you do this? Like why? It's like there's no good logic to this. Sorry, Joe. I'm not saying like good logic, but there's nothing here that makes sense. There's nothing here that makes sense. It's I just don't know why. I just don't know why you would I just don't know why you would do it. I just don't know why you would do this. You know, like all these schools and the amount of money. Like who puts down like $100,000 that like Northwest State's gonna beat Florida A&T? Who would do that? Who would do such a thing? Nobody would. That's the problem. These guys, like, it's just so stupid. It's so stupid. Like, why would you do this, man? Why would you do this stuff? It's so fucking retarded. It's so stupid, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Oh. I just really don't. I really don't. Why would you guys? I'm trying to find, because there was a reporter. He broke it down and he showed like how much money, like specifically game to game, and it was just ridiculous. And when you see it, you're like, "There's no way this is correct," and it doesn't make any sense. No, I can't see it. Dang it, I can't find it now. But I wish I could, because it's mind-boggling how much money these guys were doing. Like, these guys are throwing down hundreds of thousands of dollars for the most scrub-tastic games. Like, I get it. You're going to throw $100,000 on the NCAA finals. Like, I get it, but I'm surprised the casinos let people bet on this kind of action. Really, when you think about it. This kind of action for a casino, you'd think they'd be like, that's too obscure, that's too sus. But no, these casinos were like, no, it's all good, fam, we got you. It boggles the mind. Yes, it bottles the mind up. Yes, it does. It really does here. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Oh. Real quick, guys, we got. I'm sorry, Rob, if I didn't catch this earlier. Rob Dorr for 10 subs. Thank you, Rob. I think it's another award. Oh yeah, we got it, chat. We got it. And then another for $10 says suffer, revolutionaries. Yep, commies can suffer. They can suffer. And then Debbie O for $5 says the reverse Flynn effect personified. RIP, the average US IQ. Well, yeah, that's no lies detected. Thank you, by the way, Debbie. It's good to see you. EDW Raptor for $2 says, my local college, Nichols State, was named in this. Well, thank you. Then EDW Raptor says, Nichols State, let's go, Colonels! Yeah, that's, yes. Thank you, EDW. The casino was involved. Whoa, buddy. But no, it's just interesting how these guys did that. And it's like, I don't know. Like, betting on the most bumfuck games imaginable. That just seems so ridiculous. It seems so ridiculous to me. It don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. Objective Gestalt says, does the thank you for being here, by the way. Thank you for the super chat. Welcome. Says, does the fact that protesters were arrested by the feds rather than local police affect the odds of them seeing actual jail time? No, I mean, like, I like to think the Fed judges are generally less prone to be retarded when it comes to criminal cases. But I mean, they got a better chance than if they were in front of a local judge. A local judge would never incarcerate them. So probably, I mean, it just all depends on how far we get and whether or not the case survives. So But I think I answered your question there. The odds are better. The odds are better, but I don't know how much better, really. I'm sorry to give you that as an answer. I wish I could gas you up and say it's going to be okay, but that's not how I roll here. So sorry about that. Like I said, I wish I could do better, but I can't on that. So. So let's see here. No problem. I like having the realistic perspective. Yeah. The lawyer says it depends. Well, I try not to do that. Chujin says it in like a 90% conviction for Fed cases. Yes. But remember, it's like over 90%. You're going to do this in Minnesota. If you do it in the Twin Cities area, the juries you're going to get hung juries or acquittals. And remember, in Minnesota's a Democrat state. So even if you go statewide for a jury, which a federal court would have to do because it's the District of Minnesota, you're probably going to get some Democrats on your jury, and they're probably going to say not guilty, orange man bad, and hang the jury. So I'm not holding out hope that they'll see convictions. So, and Hella. Hello, Hella. You guys see Hella overexcited. She's out there just crushing it right now with her coverage. Says, guess what? I got a video taken down for harassment and cyberbullying. Get a hold of me because I can help you navigate that with YouTube. We can get it back. We'll figure it out. So, yeah. But anyways, Hella, congratulations. That means you're doing this for real when people are upset at you. And it's a good sign. It's a good sign. Oh. Now, guys, moving on, another case. Actually, we're kind of hammering the immigration drum right now a little bit. And actually, how far along are we right here? Kapow, 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 kapow. Yeah, we're almost done, chat. We got 2 left, and we're going to be done. All right. You guys remember the head of the superintendent of the Des Moines, Iowa school board, Ian Roberts. He is the guy from, he was here, and apparently they hired him out, and they're like, well, wait, how did we hire this guy? Well, he, remember they arrested him. He had guns and all kinds of crazy stuff on him. Well, he ended up pleading out. Today. There's a plea agreement he ended up taking, and he's going to get a FOIA on top of things here. So he's pleading guilty to false statements for employment, which you do when you lie about your immigration status and you lie on the I-9 forms. It's a violation of 18 U.S.C. 1546. Also, an illegal alien possession of firearm. So what is he going to do? No charges are going to be dismissed. The government agrees not to sue additional charges. And also false statements concerning his citizenship. So the maximum punishment is a sentence of up to 5 years for the count 1. Count 2 carries a maximum sentence of 15 years in prison. Yeah, being an illegal with a gun is bad. And they say that, he will have to comply with supervised release, basically probation after he's done. He agrees to remain in custody following the completion of the entry of his guilty plea to await sentencing. So he's going to stay incarcerated until he's sentenced. So what did he do here? Well, he lied to count 1, the false statements. He lied on his I-9 form, which it's a crime to do that. Don't do it. Then he was also an illegal alien in possession of a firearm. Once again, you could argue all gun laws are infringements, but hey, for now they are. And, he illegally, knowingly possessed a firearm. You can't do that if you're illegal. And he did all of this. So, what ultimately is he looking at here? What is the recommendations? Well, the sentencing guidelines are saying here that the court may depart. The government agrees that he has accepted credit for responsibility, meaning by pleading out. And that they are, trying to see what happens here. But there's nothing set yet. And they talk about he'll do a pre-sentence investigation report. And there's going to be evidence at sentencing. Everybody can enter evidence they need to at sentencing. The judge will decide the sentence. He can't withdraw his plea if he doesn't like what happens. He has to forfeit all of his guns. He had a Remington Model 783, which isn't bad. He had a Sig Sauer P320. Well, that's actually good. That's off the streets. A Glock 19 and Remington 870, 20 gauge. And he did all of that, and he's he's wondering what's going to happen here. So here's the thing: is immigration consequences, because he's not here legally. He understands the impact of his guilty plea has, as he is not a citizen of the United States. He understands the plea may restrict his ability to challenge removal from the United States. He further understands that count 2 is an aggravated felony, which means he'd be subject to enhanced criminal penalties if he were to re-enter without authorization. So he's going to get sent away, chat, and he's going away. We don't know how long, but he is leaving on a jet plane. And he signs it. His attorney signed it. And so the U.S. Attorney's Office. So there's some good news there. Some of these stories are having happy endings, chat. I want you to know these stories are having some happy endings. Oh. Now, this last one, we're going to end on this. I'm not going to say I've had a chance to go to a cockfight, but I've been invited to cockfights. You got to be careful if you go to them. If you go to that or animal fighting, it may be a felony to go to it in your state. So be very careful if you ever go to these things, because it can be a problem for you. But it can be a problem. It can be a problem. And in Louisiana, cockfighting is illegal, but it certainly is part of Cajun culture and Creole culture. It's also very common in Hispanic areas. Like it's a Central American thing. Like, and it's in the Southwest. Like it's a big thing there. And it's very funny. It's very funny. It's very funny with the. I wish I could find it here, but it's very much like the that interview where you see people where it's like the 1980s, and it's like they're interviewing people about, can you drink and drive? It's like, well, I just want a beer going home. It sounds like communism to me. And you're just like, yeah, it's so funny how it was and how people used to react. And, people in, I found it. Good. Yeah, here we go. Perfect. This is what I'm talking about here. You just love it. This is, if you guys haven't seen this before, here you go.
Drinking and driving. Still any.
This is back in the day, chat. Here you go.
Viewed by some as downright. Still, any attempt to restrict drinking and driving here is viewed by some as downright undemocratic.
It's kind of getting communist when a fella can't put in a hard day's work, put in 11, 12 hours a day, and then get in your truck and at least drink 1 or 2 beers.
They're making it laws where you can't drink when you want to. You have to wear a seatbelt when you're driving. And pretty soon we're going to be a communist country.
Little did they know. They were based and they were right. They were right. Little did they know, chat. Well, in Louisiana, cockfighting is a thing, and this is I can't believe this is real from reading this. This is a literal thing here, and we're gonna watch the news story about this. This is an actual thing, courtesy of EDW Raptor. Well, he's not a real Louisianan like ag biochemist. He tries really hard, but the Attorney General says cockfighting is still illegal in Louisiana. I'm not fucking joking with you. I'm not joking with you. So what happened? The Attorney General had to put on Facebook that they don't offer opinions on state laws, but they had to say cockfighting is illegal. And they point out participating in it includes attending the cockfight or betting on it or paying admission to view or bet on a cockfight. They point out chickens mean any bird of the species, gallus, whether they're domestic or feral. And it's where chickens are set against one another when they engage in combat. And you can face up to $500 fines and up to 6 months in prison or jail. So it's interesting because in Louisiana, it wasn't illegal until 2008. It's only been illegal for like under 20 years. You're like, whoa, what? But it is a thing here. So what happened? So some supporters left the meeting feeling optimistic after they met with the parish board of supervisors. So what happened? They got a 13-0 vote to ask the Attorney General on whether it should be illegal or unconstitutional under current law. And a councilman made a motion to contact their state reps about legislation to modify the law. Oh my God. And they're like, look, we're not just doing this in the backyard somewhere. I'm like, that's where you do it. You do it like in the backyard or in a scrapyard. Like the place I was going to go to was at a scrapyard until like, not going to say where, but it was like, it was going to be in a scrapyard. Like it's like shit out of training day. You know, it's a business that'll generate thousands of jobs and revenue. Oh my God. This is fucking insane. But I want to hear this. I want to hear this. This has got to be good. This has got to be keynote chat.
After more than 20 minutes of discussion between the Salinger Parish Council and cockfighting supporters, the Salinger Parish Council has made a decision to continue the discussion on cockfighting. I'm Paris Flanagan, your Salinger Parish reporter, and this time the discussion is headed to the Attorney General's office.
You start leading yourself and get y'all a group and stand forward, start getting you signatures, get with your legislator.
Dozens of cockfighting supporters gathered.
Just think about this. It's not like we need to fix something. Patty says, absolutely, Toledo. Yeah, well, I'm not going to say. Yes, this is like Russell Greer trying to pitch a brothel. I mean, these people show up, and this is like a King of the Hill episode. This is like something Dale would push for. Like Dale and Boomhauer would be going after.
Outside the Salinger Parish Council meeting after a controversial discussion on the practice. Despite cockfighting being illegal in Louisiana since 2008, some supporters left the meeting optimistic after the council decided to take the issue to the state level.
I feel like a lot of good things did happen. We might have not got the answer that we wanted, but it helped educate us as well.
In a 13-0 vote, the council unanimously agreed to seek an Attorney General's opinion on whether cockfighting should be legal, illegal, or unconstitutional. Before that decision, District 10 Councilman Dexter Brown made a motion to contact State Representative Dustin Miller about introducing a bill to modify the current law. But that motion failed. Supporters say they believe regulated cockfighting could bring economic benefits to the parish.
We need to let them know, like they said, this is not going to be a backyard fight. This will be a business.
District 11 Councilman Timmy Lejeune.
That would take all the fun out of going to like some underground criminal activity if you're just going to like go down the street to the bowling alley. That takes a lot of the fun out and the allure out of it. I'm just going to drive down the street. We're going to go to the cockfighting like building. Like, no, you got to be like invited and you got to be in on it. And you got to be like, hey man, I want to come see some cool shit, man. Come by at like 8:00 tonight. That's how you know it's neat. No, come on.
Who previously raised questions about the issue says he.
I love the name when you're like your city councilman's name, Timmy Lejeune.
Respects the council's decision.
I'm not disappointed. It is what it is, and the majority has spoken.
However, support.
It's like I thought this was America. I want to have Mortal Kombat with animals. Count Picula says, but that's how it's used to be, just out in the open. I don't know. But it's like Jesus Christ. Oh, this is just ridiculous.
Continue to argue the state law is unconstitutional.
I can't use my property without being arrested. That has to be wrong.
This is,
of course, that guy's like, I want to use my property. Yeah. Imagine what this guy does for fun. Yeah, notice it's Cuba, yes. But imagine what this guy does. It's like his game hens. Like, yes, he sells chickens for cockfighting.
That has to be wrong.
this is not a downfall. This was a great meeting, just letting us know that we need to educate everyone more about cockfighting.
Lejeune says he plans to get with the parish attorney to draft this letter to send it to the Attorney General's office by the end of this week. Reporting here in Opelousas, I'm Paris Flanagan, U.S. Elementary Parish.
Holy cow. Holy cow. That man's a fucking legend. I know, it's hilarious. He's like, what's... Of course, the guy from Louisiana, it's my property. It's like, I'm sure that's not the first time that phrase has been echoed in Louisiana over the past 100, 200 years. Oh, yes. I thought it was America. I thought it was. Yes. I want to educate. Yes. We wanted kids to... So, kids, look, you could start a cockfighting ring as well. This sounds like a Vince McMahon idea. Yes. Yes! More cockfighting! Yes, Janelle, they're going to shit in your hair. Wow. Paris Flanagan with that name, she's a mix of everything. Oh, yeah. Actually, Hamserish says, did I go over the filings of the pedo-slaying father's case? Not yet. We're going to do that tomorrow. Aaron Spencer's going to be tomorrow, because we're going to go over all of it. Hopefully we get an action for the Supreme Court, because he goes to trial Monday. So hopefully we have something right there. I texted Bob Mott to see if he was going to be available to go over that stuff, or if he's going to do it himself, because he's been going pretty deep in Aaron Spencer as well. And I think, the guy was based in shooting that pedo that had his daughter. So, yeah, don't bother with the name. Yeah. Next month, we'll teach you about pit bull fights. Yes. And then next month, kids, we'll show you how the bullfighters work. Who wants to be the picador? So. Yes, and then we can have Mandingo fighting as well. Yes, just like in Django. Yes. The best at Mandingo fighting. Oh, Bob's on his way to Arkansas? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, he's going live? Oh, that's got to be nice. Dang. That's so cool. See. 2.0 was a layer. I could probably get away with doing that once in a while. But that's awesome. I haven't had a chance to check in on Bob, so I need to see what he's up to there. Yes, Final Revolution, the true sport for the white man. Oh, no. Why would they do it at the Angola prison rodeo? That would be hilarious. That would be funny. Oh. So. There is bare knuckle fighting. There was a bare knuckle fighting championship for a while. I don't know if they're still around, but there was a group that did bare knuckle fighting. I don't think they're still. They were big for a little bit, then they kind of petered out. So, let's see here. Did I catch up on everything? Justin Hancock says, I was that little boy in the car seat. Not my mom, but I think I probably had a car seat like that as a little baby. I probably would have back in the 80s. Erica says, if we do it, will we dual stream it? Sure, we will. Garrett says, I'm thinking of the Any Which Way But Loose franchise. I don't get it. Slap fighting is pretty basic. The slap fighting competitions are hilarious to watch. So, Let's see here. Men of culture, yes. I didn't even have a car seat, LOL. Like, I did. I definitely know I did. Supreme says we need sanctioned arena gladiators for prisoners. I mean, I don't think that'd be a bad idea, especially like letting death row inmates like fight it out. I think it'd be pretty cool. And like whoever wins gets out. Garrett says there's a Clint Eastwood movie, bare knuckle fighting. Well, no, there's a bare knuckle. There was a bare knuckle fighting championship. Yeah. It's a real thing. Like the bare knuckle fighting championship is a real thing here. They have Knuckle Mania. Knuckle Mania 6. Now we can't fit it on one hand. But they have all kinds of fights. They have like Andrei Orlovsky fights in this. A couple people do. So, but they've got a bit of a, they got some stuff they do. So it's part owned by Conor McGregor. Yeah. Yes. Knucklemania 6 sounds like a porno. It does. It does. R.I.P. Kimbo Slice. Yes. God, I remember watching those fights with Kimbo Slice where he was the one where he fought like a police officer and they were just in a gym, just brawling. That was a good one. What's the best forced reset trigger? Not Rare Breed. I'm getting ready to do a video because Rare Breed triggers a suit another person besides Hoffman Tactical. In fact, what do we find out about Rare Breed? They're a Rare Breed scumbag. So no, don't use Rare Breed. Use Hoffman. Use a super safety. It'll be good for you. Bum fights. Yeah. Well, yeah, they're expensive, but yes, Rare Breed is run by fucking assholes too. Yeah. Support Hoffman Tactical and buy a super safety. Yep. Oh, chat. All right, guys. We are all caught up now. You hear that, chat? Use the SS. Yes. I mean, after all, like, I'm playing bolt action and I'm not the allies, so make of that what you will, chat. Make of that what you will. Oh. Bare Knuckle's still going strong. Looks like it, yeah. Looks like it a lot. All right, guys. So that is it for tonight. Tomorrow I'm going to be on Laid Back Law. Last week when Nate put out all the things we were talking about, I couldn't find the link because it was like buried in the stuff. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't see it till I got home and was like on my computer. I will be on tomorrow. I told Eric, well, actually, make sure. Is Eric doing it? Let's see here. I think we're doing it. I will be on till about 1, but I'm not going to be able to be on forever. Because I got like court's like, hey, I want to schedule a hearing. Court's like, let's schedule a hearing. Okay, I went on this issue Friday at 2, and I'm like, oh fuck. It's like I was like, I didn't have anything scheduled Friday afternoon. I was like, I could stay at home and do some work, and it's like, nope, gotta go to court for like yay. But it has to be done. It has to be done, chat. Such is life. So yeah, I'll be there tomorrow at noon. I think we're having it, so I'll see you guys then. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything here. Nope, I think we're all caught up. I need to tell 2.0 how pretty her haircut is. I did. I like it. I've just never seen her with hair that short. Her hair has usually come down pretty far, and now it's like here, and I'm like, I've never seen it like that short before. So it's a little different for me. So, guys, with that said, We are going to head over to locals here very shortly. You know, Chad, I didn't think I'd do locals. We're going to do locals tonight. Potentiallycriminal.locals.com. We're going to start doing the shows a little shorter just because it's kind of like been petering out with me. I don't got the stamina, chat, but we are going to head over there. Don't worry about the promo code. It's going to be a free show tonight. We got some World War III stuff to talk about. We got some other stuff to talk about. We're going to do it. And yeah, I'll see you guys over there. So thank you all for being here, chat. Over 400 of you the whole freaking time. Oh, I forgot to mention, we do have a new animation for Supreme Court cases, and it involves our great Ketanji Brown Jackson. I forgot to air this, but you guys need to see it before we go. Special treat for everybody. Here's our new animation.
It just don't make no sense.
Which is basically how that woman operates. It don't make no sense. It don't, chat. It don't make no sense. But there you go. So thank you again. Thank you guys out there for that. I appreciate all your help on all these things. Link to locals, potentiallycriminal.locals.com. And Rare Breed was thrown out of SHOT Show for serving cease and desist. Based. Fuck those motherfuckers. All right, chat. So I'm going to head out of here. I will see you guys tomorrow. And remember, until next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Although, I mean, those commies in Minnesota are pretty fucking guilty. So, but you guys aren't guilty. I believe in you. I believe in you. Have a nice weekend, chat. A good night. Why won't this play? There we go.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy?